I never thought a 5-inch plastic cylinder could ruin my entire life. But there it was, blurting out the truth I was too scared to admit. And the worst part? He didn't even flinch. I sat frozen on the couch, every muscle in my body stiff, as the words from the smart speaker echoed in the air. Calling your legal lover. My heart stuttered like an old engine about to give up. Ethemy's so-called best friend laughed. Not the sharp, mocking laugh I'd braced for, but something softer, confused, maybe even a little embarrassed. He raked his hand through his messy dark hair, glancing at me like I was supposed to explain why his brand new smart home device kept calling me his partner instead of his roommate. I didn't explain. Couldn't. How do you tell the boy you've loved for years that the only reason the speaker calls you that is because late at night, alone in the apartment, you whispered it to test how it sounded? Call Matthew my legal lover. I wanted to hear it out loud. I wanted to imagine it was real. Dude, Ethan said, smirking. What the hell is wrong with this thing? Why would it even? He cut himself off, his eyes narrowing like he was putting pieces together. And I prayed desperately that he wouldn't. The thing about being best friends in America, in a small town where every smile hides judgment, is that people love categories. Ethan and I had our box. Two boys who grew up together, who played basketball in crack school gyms, who survived college by sharing ramen in tiny apartments. Best friends. Brothers almost. That's the story we sold to the world, and mostly to ourselves. But stories leak. They leak in the way I remembered the smell of his hoodie more than my own. They leak in the way I memorized the rhythm of his breathing when we fell asleep after all-night gaming sessions. They leak in my pulse every time his hand brushed mine. And now, thanks to one piece of technology one never should have messed with, the story had sprung a leak so wide it felt like drowning. We didn't talk about it for 2 days. Ethan carried on like nothing happened, joking, cooking spaghetti at midnight, blasting music from the speaker that had outed me. But every time its glowing ring lit up, I felt a bead of sweat trickle down my back. On the third night, he finally cornered me. Matt, he said, leaning against the doorway of my bedroom, his voice low. Be honest with me. Did you do something to the speaker? I swallowed hard. Like what? Like program it. I mean, it doesn't just make stuff up. Did you tell it to call you? He stopped, his jaw tightening. You know what I'm asking. I should have lied. God, I wanted to lie. But his eyes were burning through me, and the words tumbled out before I could stop them. Yeah, I told it. I told it to call me your lover. The silence stretched. I forced myself to keep looking at him, bracing for disgust, anger, anything that would confirm my worst fears. But Ethan just exhaled, slow and heavy, like he'd been holding his breath for years. Why, Matt? He asked quietly. Because my throat locked. My heart pounded. This was it, the cliff edge. Because I wanted to know what it would sound like if it were true. He didn't speak. For a long moment, neither of us did. Then Ethan crossed the room and sat down on the edge of my bed. Too close. Not close enough. You're my best friend, he said. But his voice cracked halfway. Do you know what it means, you saying something like that? Yes, I whispered. It means I've ruined everything. His hand hovered in the air for a second before landing gently on mine. Or maybe it means you've been carrying something I should have seen a long time ago. My chest ached. Hope clawed at me like fire, but fear held it back. Don't, I said. Don't say something you don't mean. Don't give me more to lose. Ethan turned his hand, threading his fingers with mine. Maybe I'm trying to figure out what I mean. The days that followed were torture-sweet, aching torture. Nothing was clear. Sometimes Ethan looked at me like I was still his best friend, someone safe and familiar. Other times, his gaze lingered too long, like maybe he was replaying my confession in his head and wondering how different things could be. We avoided the subject but danced around it anyway. We cooked dinner together, bumping into each other in the cramped kitchen. We stayed up watching movies, his arm brushing mine on the couch, and neither of us moving away. The speaker, unbothered by our silence, continued its work. Calling your legal lover. Your lover's calendar is synced. Would you like to message your lover? Each slip was a knife and a kiss at once. Finally, one rainy night, Ethan grabbed his jacket and said, Come with me. We ended up at the basketball court we'd grown up on, the one with cracked asphalt and a rusted hoop. The rain poured, plastering his hair to his forehead, soaking us both. "Why here?" I shouted over the storm. "Because this is where it started," he said. "This is where you became my best friend. And if we're gonna change what that means, I want it to be here too." My heart stopped. He stepped closer, his voice raw. "Matt, I don't know if I'm ready to say all the things you've been feeling. But I know I don't want to lose you. And when that stupid speaker called you my lover, it didn't feel wrong. It felt like maybe it knew something I didn't." The rain blurred everything, but I saw his hand trembling as it reached for my face. "Ethan," I whispered, and then he kissed me. The kiss wasn't perfect. It was messy, clumsy, full of years of fear and longing all crashing together. But it was real. It was ours. For the first time in forever, I wasn't drowning. I was breathing. Later, lying on the couch wrapped in one blanket, Ethan resting against my shoulder, the speaker lit up again. "Good night to your legal lover." We both burst out laughing, the kind that shakes your chest and makes your ribs ache. Ethan didn't let go of my hand. "Guess it's official now," he said, his voice warm against my skin. I smiled through the tears in my eyes. "Guess so. And for once, I didn't want to change the story." Thank you for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe to stay updated with the latest videos.